Hey everyone, welcome to a special edition of NoDQ Live. This is not what you're used to, and I'm not sure how this is going to go. I could get cut off here, I could have some technical issues. I'm obviously not home right now. I am still watching Raw though. I have Raw here, I have the headphones, I'm listening in. I'm doing a little experiment this week. I'm going to watch the end of Raw live because people are saying, I should do a video where I'm actually watching Raw live. So I figured, okay, we'll do a little experiment here. Last half hour or so of Raw, I'll have it on live and I'll react to it as it's happening. In the meantime, I will go ahead and give my thoughts on the show. Got my notes right here from Monday Night Raw as I've been watching the show tonight. So we kicked off with the Pack coming out, but I guess more specifically, we kicked off with the Dolph Ziggler record scratch. Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre came out, and then Braun Strowman came out. All the heels came out, all the mid-carders came out. We had Strowman talk about, was it Strowman? I'm trying to remember what Strowman said. I guess he's referring to themselves as the Dogs of War now. So yeah, Dogs of War is the official name of the team. I like the Pack better, even though it sounds like Wolfpack. Dogs of War, really? Who came up with that? Some 10-year-old? But yeah, they said they're the Dogs of War, and the balance of power has now shifted to them. They're in control. They showed a long recap, and I have to agree with Kayfabe Candy Ass on this one. He talked about on Twitter how these segments are so repetitive, where we have somebody come out at the beginning and then there's a long video package, 2 or 3 minutes, while the guy or guys are standing in the ring. I think it's getting really tedious at this point, and I agree with him. I do agree with Kayfabe Candy Ass. I'm just not a fan of the direction of Monday Night Raw right now. This opening segment did absolutely nothing for me. And then, to make things worse, we had the Shield come out and they proceeded to beat up everybody. They had some axe handles, and they managed to take out all the guys, including the Authors of Pain, which I thought was hilarious. Authors of Pain are supposed to be rebuilt here. They now have Drake Maverick as their manager, and they get beat up by the Shield when it's like 10 against 3. I mean, come on now. This is ridiculous. This opening segment did absolutely nothing for me. I don't know where you go from here with Authors of Pain, or AOP, I guess. I think they're just AOP now. But I guess the solution is to just have them come out later on the show and win enhancement matches. But for me, at this point, I don't care about the Authors of Pain anymore. They got beat up by the Shield when there's tons of other guys there, and the Authors of Pain were just a bunch of geeks there. So now Raw is back on, and as I told you guys at the beginning, I'm actually watching this Raw episode while I'm doing the video here, trying something out differently this time. I'm not home right now, so I figured, you know what? I'll experiment. I'll try something a little bit different here. I don't know how the connection is for you guys. Hopefully it's decent. I'm not seeing any complaints in the chat room yet, except for people wondering where I'm at. I'm somewhere very cozy right now. It is Finn the Fonz Balor against Elias right now, and I guess we could talk about Mick Foley. I will bounce around a little bit here with this review, since I'm just fresh in my mind of what just happened on Raw. We had Elias do his usual song where he rips into the city. This week's Raw is in New Orleans. By the way, pretty small crowd. I mean, it's the same arena where the night after WrestleMania 34 took place, and yeah, it looks like the entire upper deck is empty, and even parts of the lower deck on the hard camera look to be empty as well. And yeah, it's definitely more of a casual crowd. I mean, they were booing Braun Strowman and they were cheering for the Shield, and yeah, I mean, doesn't really surprise me, because the night after WrestleMania, you got the hardcore fans there, the most hardcore of hardcore fans there. And congrats, you played yourself, says, I swear Aaron has the best shirts. Well, thank you for that. So yeah, Elias and Finn Balor is going on right now, and yeah, the prior segment we had Elias ripping into the sports team, the New Orleans Saints. I'm not even sure what team they are. I'm guessing football, but you know, I'm not the sports guy, so I don't know off the top of my head. Nonetheless, as usual for Elias segments, we had Mick Foley come out. Yeah, it is football. Thank you for that, Cindy. And TK says, tickets are rad expensive for Raw in major fan cities. And Ken Terminated by Google says, this is a good shirt, all the mobsters. This shirt's good, he says, but not as good as the Michael Myers shirt I was wearing last week. Well, thank you for that. But yeah, anyways, Elias was interrupted by Mick Foley. Mick Foley was, in fact, advertised for this show. Foley came out and said he likes Elias overall, but he doesn't feel that Elias is sincere. He doesn't have a sincere bone in his body. Elias, he bounced back by saying that Foley is broken down, yada, yada, yada. And the crowd was chanting Mr. Sacco. They wanted to see Elias get taken out, but Mick Foley was there for something else. It wasn't just to beat up Elias, and actually he did not beat up Elias, but Mick Foley announced that at Hell in a Cell, for the Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman Cell match, since it is the 20-year anniversary of the Cell match, it's going to be Mick Foley as the special guest referee. Yeah, I'm not sure what you think about that, but it's interesting. I will say it's the one thing I feel that has gotten me remotely intrigued about the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. By adding Mick Foley to the mix, even though it has been done before. We had Mick Foley, the guest referee for the Triple H versus Kevin Nash Cell match from several years ago. How's it going, Tony? Tony says, what's up? And Tyler wants to know where I am. You're going to have to take a guess. You're going to have to do some research, Sherlock, and find out where I'm at. I'm not going to tell you. It's a mystery. It's like Evolution, not the pay-per-view, the faction. So yeah, Mick Foley, special guest referee at Hell in a Cell. I guess I'm a little bit more excited about the pay-per-view, and I will say this up to this point has probably been the highlight of Raw. We'll see what happens with this final segment. Finn Balor and Elias still going on. He hit the Sling Blade, and I got a super chat donation here. They're going so fast, by the way, guys, so I'm not sure if I can go back and read the comment. I apologize for that. Somebody might have to repeat what the super chat comment was. I'm going to have to pay real close attention here because it goes by so quickly. So I want to apologize for that super chat donation. Somebody can leave a comment. Let me know what he said. I'm looking at these comments really carefully because they do go by really quickly. I don't have my computer here. I have my other phone that I'm watching Raw on right now. I have the headset to listen to. Chris thinks that Foley might take a spill off the cell from Strowman. Donald says no DQ brand do-rags. And Braden says, can't wait to see what your top 25 women is. Yes, I do plan on doing that soon, so stay tuned for that. That will be the next top video I'm going to do. Tony, do you think Mick will take a bump? And he left a $2 super chat donation. I would be surprised. He might. I don't think he's going to take like any big bump like off the cell or something, but he might, you know, take a punch or take a chair shot or go through thumbtacks or something. I would not rule that out, but I don't think he's jumping off any high places or anything like that. I would be really surprised. I'm thinking, you know, he might take some kind of little bump in the ring, and that'll be it. But I'll talk more about it when I do the predictions video with the rest of the NoDQ panel. Yeah, I started, for those of you just tuning in, I'm doing this a little bit differently this week. I'm doing this live. I'm going to be giving you my reactions to the end of the show tonight, and see how this works. If you guys find this interesting, I will start earlier from now on, because people have been asking me for a long time, why don't you watch Raw and give your live reaction as it's happening? Right now, I'm just sitting through commercials, and I told people, it's kind of boring, you know, I would be sitting here, but I figured, you know what, I'll do the end, and I already have my notes for the rest of the show, so I'll go ahead and recap Raw during the commercials and during the slow points, so that's what I'm doing here. Braden says I like it earlier, and Darren G says, are you still in a hotel? No, I am not in a hotel, so you're going to have to keep going here. Kayfabe Candy Ass says, not too much to react to tonight. No, I am not at the airport, John. All right, so we had oh, wait a minute. Mike Hunt with a $5 super chat donation. Off topic. Will Jim Johnson ever go to the Hall of Fame? I think he really deserves it. I hope so. I'm not going to get my hopes up. There are a lot of guys not in the Hall of Fame that are not wrestlers I would like to see go in. Jim Johnston is definitely at the top of the list. Some of the referees, guys like Earl Hebner, I believe 100% he should be, but let's face it, it's certainly not a guarantee at this point. I think it could go either way. Yes, Chris just got it. I am at Los Pollos Hermanos to have a special business meeting with Gus Fring as soon as I wrap up this video. All right, so let's get back to Raw. We had the Bella Twins have their locker room vandalized. Now, some of you might remember that DX segment from 1997 where the Nation's locker room was vandalized, and that was way more elaborate and quite more entertaining than this. This was like the laziest vandalizing of a locker room ever. First of all, was that even a locker room? Big G with a $2 super chat donation. Major announcement from Big G coming soon. So that is from Big G. Follow him at nodq.com/Jeff, Geoff. Or it might be Big G. I'm not sure if I changed it yet, but I probably should. So yeah, this was really lame. I mean, first of all, the Bellas must have had the smallest locker room. It looked like a broom closet almost. It was so small. We're back from commercial, so Finn Balor and Elias is still going on live right now. And yeah, there was literally like Fearless and Less was crossed out with more written on top. It was so cheesy, so lame. And then we had Nikki Bella versus Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott had no intro, by the way, so no happy-go-lucky music, no nothing. It was just Nikki coming out, and then they had the match. So you pretty much knew how this was going, and yeah, it was basically an enhancement match where Nikki looked strong and Ruby did the job. You had Liv Morgan trying to interfere, but Brie Bella was there to counteract that. I'm just happy we didn't have to hear Brie mode. That would have driven me absolutely nuts. But I guess tomorrow night we got Maurice versus Brie, so I'm going to lose my mind tomorrow. That's a little point off of tomorrow's SmackDown, just because I have to hear Brie mode. Maybe I should give Raw like a little point for not having Brie mode played. This show's still not going to get a good rating, spoiler alert. The crowd liked Nikki. I mean, it was mainly women and children, but there was a loud "Let's Go Nikki" chant. It was like the highest pitched chant I've heard on Raw in a long time. And John says Brie mode is the greatest song ever. Yeah. Tyler says, are you starting early tomorrow too? I don't know. I'll have to see the feedback for this and go from there. Just take it one step at a time here. This is an experiment. You know, I'm doing something different here. I'm not at home, so that's also a factor. I'll just have to see how I'm feeling tomorrow and the kind of reaction I get. Cindy says, do you think the Riot Squad is officially buried? I mean, yeah, pretty much. They're second fiddle now to the real stars, the Bella Twins, and whatever. It is what it is. I was just bored by this. Sorry, Caitlin. We had a backstage segment with more police, and Corbin was trying to tell the Shield, you know, you can't be going out there and doing stuff, and, you know, you got to leave the building or else you're going to jail. You're going to be in jail for a long time, says Corbin. And I don't think one person took this seriously in the entire world. Not even the dumbest WWE fan could say, oh, wow, they might actually go to jail for a long time if they don't leave. I mean, come on now. This is just so over the top and not believable at all. No suspension of disbelief. It's just absolutely absurd. Ridiculous. Finn Balor is on the top rope right now, and there's the no, he missed it. He missed the coup de grace, and now Elias has got him up. Wait a minute, roll up, fruit roll up. This could be it. It is it. The fruit roll up gets the victory for Finn Balor. All right. You cannot have a Monday Night Raw without a fruit roll up. So there, you guys are getting my live reaction to a Raw match. I hope you're happy now. Yeah. I was kind of bored with it. I was talking to you guys the whole time. But he did win with the fruit roll-up. And Michael says fruit roll-up, meh. But yeah, back to the backstage segment with Corbin and the Shield. The Shield did leave. And, you know, of course, again, we know they're coming back. I mean, this is so silly. We had a long segment with Connor's Cure. And I don't want to be a jerk. I think it's cool to acknowledge Connor and have a charity in his name, but the way WWE just does it constantly and just over hypes it up and does all the video packages, and this was a really long segment too, it just rubs me the wrong way. It just feels like a company is trying to pat themselves on the back and make themselves look good for their sponsors so they can ultimately make more money. So it just bothers me a little bit. I feel it's borderline insincere. I'm sure there's plenty of guys in WWE that love this, that it's being done, but I don't know. It's sometimes when WWE just overdoes it with the charity promotional stuff, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So if that makes me a jerk, if that makes me an a-hole, then so be it. But yeah, I wish WWE would cut back on all this stuff. You know, if you want to have the logo and bring it up like one time on the show real quick for 10 seconds, that's fine. Bring the kids out for, you know, a minute, not 5 minutes. I think I would not be as critical of it. Let's just put it that way. And speaking of dragging things out, we had a Triple H and Undertaker video package. Yeah, this was pretty much a filler Raw, and it's funny because this is the first night against football, and it feels like WWE did absolutely nothing to really hook people onto this show. Right now we have Braun Strowman backstage, and Braun Strowman's looking for Roman Reigns, and is that Charlie, I think? I'm not even sure which one it is. The female backstage announcer says, well, maybe if you go to the ring, you'll find Roman Reigns. Who writes this crap? I mean, this is just the worst lines. And yeah, Braun Strowman's looking for Roman. Oh, just go to the ring. You'll find Roman there. Yeah. We had the AOP. I guess they're just AOP now and not the Authors of Pain. Drake Maverick no longer has the Shield ripoff gear. He just came out with a blank black tank top and looks extremely generic, by the way. Somebody on Twitter, I think, put it nicely. They look like just some random, you come up with some random CAW 3-person team, and that's what these guys look like at this point. They don't really look marketable, and they still need something. After 2 weeks, I feel like, yeah, AOP is in a lot of trouble. Getting beat up by the Shield at the beginning and just not having the look. They beat up a couple of enhancement guys, but I feel the damage has been done at this point. John says the AOP are just geeks on the show now. Braden says, is Hell in a Cell worth watching? I suppose, but again, I'll talk about this with the rest of the NoDQ panel when I do the predictions. Owens did do something. Kevin Owens, I will talk about that here. Let's get to that. Triple H came out for his promo, and he really said very little. He recapped what happened with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, and you know, he doesn't understand how Undertaker got so triggered by Shawn Michaels just giving his opinion. And Triple H showed the poll results where 85% are voting for Undertaker to win at the pay-per-view. But of course, the live crowd booed this, which I thought was hilarious. I wonder if the poll was rigged. Undertaker, according to Triple H, has lost respect for himself, and the crowd booed that, of course. So they were back and forth here. The crowd was very bipolar in this segment, and Triple H ended the promo by saying, Undertaker, at Super Showdown, I'm gonna put you down. So he just used the Undertaker's words, and that was it. There was really nothing to it. I thought this was really disappointing. There was no point in doing this on this show. They could have waited until after Hell in a Cell, given us a little bit of a break. But no, Triple H just comes out here, and it was basically time filler. It did nothing to make me more excited for the match coming up. Absolutely nothing. Waste of time. We had Dolph Ziggler, again with the record scratch. 2 record scratches in one show. Not sure the last time that's happened. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre defended against the B Team. The B Team getting their rematch. This was boring. I mean, I figured the outcome was obvious. I figured there's pretty much no chance of B Team winning the titles back, and sure enough, Dolph Ziggler and McIntyre won. I would have rather this had just been a quick squash. The fact that it was dragged out made me even less interested in following the match and keeping up on it. So yeah, I think it should have just been a quick squash. They should have just destroyed B Team, and that was that. I would not have even made it a competitive match. We had Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose come out after the match and jump McIntyre and Ziggler, and this led to a backstage segment where Corbin had the police there, and I don't even understand this segment. So I guess technically, since it was just Ambrose and Rollins, they were not the Shield, so technically they did not break Corbin's rules. I mean, whatever. And then Ambrose and Rollins were talking about how they wanted to have Corbin arrested. And then Ambrose spoke privately with one of the police officers, and they were telling their jokes. So now Dean Ambrose is back to doing his lame-ass comedy. And then I guess they decided not to press charges against Baron Corbin. I have no idea what was going on here. This hurt my brain. This was just so dumb. I mean, this felt like WCW 2000. Actually, a lot of this show felt like WCW 2000. We had Kevin Owens come out for his match. And by the way, so Kevin Owens came out first, and then we had all the backstage stuff with Ambrose, Rollins, and Corbin. And then we had... Oh, Undertaker is live on Raw next week, by the way. Just saw the graphic for it. Owens was just sitting in the ring the entire time. I don't understand this. Why do this? Why just have Owens sitting back there when all this stuff is going on backstage? Why not just do that stuff first, then have Ambrose come out? Not Ambrose, Owens, excuse me. I don't get it. So here comes Braun Strowman now. Raw is live, so I will give my thoughts on this as it's going on here. Raw is still going on, and I thank you guys for watching live, and I will give you my live reaction as this is going on here. I may have moments of dead air, so I can try to listen to what's going on and try to give my review of the show. So again, this is an experiment. I may or may not do this next week, depending on the feedback for it. Just figured I would try something different this week. Yeah, he's just yelling, Roman! He wants Roman. Kevin Owens had a match with, well, he was going to have a match with Tyler Breeze, and Owens jumped Breeze before the match could even start. And then Breeze was powerbombed on the apron by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens cut a promo, and I guess this explains why he's helping Braun Strowman all of a sudden. According to him, he was rehired under the condition that he would not be responsible for what he does. Why they would hire him back after he quit, I don't know. He said he hates the Shield, and that's why he's helping Braun Strowman. Still doesn't make any sense to me. Very cheap cop-out here. He also said he attacked Lashley because of what Lashley did to Sami Zayn. That at least makes sense. So I'll give WWE credit for that. At least we have something to play off of what happened before, and there is a legitimate reason for Owens going after Lashley, because Lashley did take out Owens' best friend, Sami Zayn. Strowman is in the ring right now. He wants Roman Reigns, so we'll see what happens here. I'm guessing some kind of melee will happen. I would say pretty much zero chance of Roman Reigns not showing up. Oh, so far no Roman Reigns. And Strowman says Roman's nothing but a coward. He's afraid. There's nowhere for him to hide at the Hell in a Cell match. So if Mick Foley's the referee, does this mean that we're not going to have outside interference, or will we still get the interference anyways? Will there even be a point in Mick Foley being there if there's still the outside interference? I guess Foley's there to have law and order. I guess this could be Strowman's out for losing. Maybe that's why Mick Foley's in this match, so Strowman can take the fall, but technically get screwed by Mick Foley, and that'll be his excuse for not winning the match. Seems like that could happen, but again, I will talk about this with the panel when we do the video. So yeah, I think the Owens stuff, other than the explanation for attacking Lashley, I think was pretty dumb and just a waste of a storyline. They could have done so much with him. Strowman says he's going to send Reigns straight to hell, and that's all he can stand. He cannot stand no more. Here comes Roman Reigns. Where's he coming from? Looks like it's being teased that it'll be coming from the crowd. Where's he going to come from? Is he going to come from under the ring? Wait, Strowman's leaving the ring now. Strowman's wondering where the heck Roman Reigns is. What else did we have on this show? I will commentate on this as something happens. We did have Ronda Rousey and Natalya against Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Oh wait, Roman Reigns is there. He's up by the announce table. So it looks like they're going to be fighting, and there's a Superman punch. They're fighting on the stage now. Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman brawling. Strowman shoves Reigns into the stage, into the set, the HD screen, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I am behind, you know. I don't know why my Sling TV is so behind, but I'm always like a minute behind everyone, it seems. TGS says Reigns has a Connor's Cure vest on his damn vest. So Strowman's taking the announce table apart. Where are the announcers, by the way? Did they run off? I guess they did. Strowman's got the belt. Where did he get the belt from? Did Roman come out with the belt? I'm confused. Looks like Strowman's gonna do something to Reigns on the table. But real quick here before something happens, wasn't really a big fan of the Ronda tag match. Alexa did get a little bit of heat. She did a few things to Ronda, including kicking her in the ribs, and I guess the idea is that Ronda might have a ribs injury going into the pay-per-view. Wait a minute. Roman Reigns with a... Whoa! Roman Reigns did a Samoan drop off of the table, off the stage through one of those padded structures, the stage below the announce table. That was actually a pretty cool spot. But of course, Roman Reigns is getting up like almost immediately from it, so much for selling it. Yeah, a Samoan drop off the top of the announce stage, off the stage all the way down to the lower platform that's like right below the stage. And they broke the little table structure. What was that there for anyways? You know, I know sometimes they do the interviews there, but I don't recall on this show them actually using that structure for anything, so why is it even there? Braden says, nice spot but what I can gather, this Raw sucked. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a cool spot, but yeah, again, how does this make Strowman look good? Roman got up pretty much right away and he took out Strowman. I guess now Roman's doing the cool stuff to Strowman. WWE's trying to get Reigns cheered, and I guess that's the idea behind this. That I mean, I guess this is a decent end to Raw. You know, usually the guy that is standing tall at the end is the one that loses at the pay-per-view. So, yeah, actually, I'm a little intrigued by this. I will say it's an interesting ending. I was expecting Strowman to be the one to lay out Reigns going into the pay-per-view. So this is kind of opposite. What does that mean? Doesn't mean anything whatsoever. That remains to be seen. But yeah, I am intrigued by it. So I guess this is the end of Raw. What do you guys think? Anthony says biggest Samoan drop ever. All right, so that is the end of Raw. All right. I'll close that. See, I was actually watching it on the phone here. I guess the only thing I need to talk about is the Rousey match, which again, it didn't really do much for Alexa. Ronda and Natalya still won. Ronda beat Mickie James with the arm bar, and then Alexa took her little cheap shot, and that was her heat. She kicked Rousey in the ribs, and that was supposed to be her heat for the pay-per-view to make her look like a strong challenger, her little cowardly kick, and then she ran away. And then backstage, Ronda, to make it even worse, she didn't even sell the injury. She said she's fine, and she's never missed a pay-per-view match, and she's gonna beat Alexa, and she was angry, and she wasn't even selling that she was hurt. So what was the point in doing this? I don't know. So I think I pretty much covered everything. Yeah, I got through this Raw review fairly quickly here. So if there's anything else you guys wanted me to discuss about Raw, I will go ahead and leave my thoughts here. If you guys want to leave a comment in the chat room. Word Life says Alexa's time on top is past for now. What happened with Revival? Did anything happen? Did something happen? If something happened with Revival, I missed it. John says Ronda's promo skills need work. Yeah, Kayfabe Candy says that Alexa robbed Ronda by, Ronda robbed Alexa by not selling the ribs. I mean, you should at least try to make make it look believable and give the challenger some credibility. I mean, first of all, Ronda wins the match, and then afterwards, Alexa just does the little cowardly move and then runs away, and then Ronda doesn't even sell it. So, letter grade for this show. This was one of the worst Raws of the year. I mean, this was pretty bad. I thought Mick Foley being added to the match, it's intriguing. As I just said, the ending of Raw, to me, is intriguing just because of Roman standing tall at the end on the go-home show. And, you know, traditionally when that happens, the other guy wins. But this is WWE, and I feel like this segment was just done to make Roman look strong. You know, Strowman was getting really over by doing all that stuff to Roman Reigns. You know, the ambulance and all those other things. You know, tipping over the ambulance and just all these incredible feats of strength. So I feel like now WWE is trying to reverse it by having Reigns do all the cool stuff to try and get him over with the fans. Chris Mace, $2. Should the Shield versus the War Dogs be for all the titles? They could do that, I suppose. Why not? You might as well do it at this point. I mean, why have McIntyre and Ziggler win the titles? Ken terminated by Google, $2. Too bad you missed my super chat, but you still rule. I thought I did read it. Somebody else said what you said, so I did read that one too. So thank you, Ken. I appreciate it, and I'll make sure to look out for your comments. I don't have my regular computer with me, so because of that, I'm having to look at the phone for the comments, and they go by like lightning. Literally, like the segment, or not the segment, the little chat box is only there for about 5 seconds, and then it disappears and just, you know, it just scrolls up. Big G says Dean and Seth versus Ziggler and McIntyre. Yes, that was announced. Corbin made the match, and I'm not sure why he made it exactly. I guess he said it was his first pay-per-view, so he wants to make a good impression, I guess. Ziggler and McIntyre were not happy about it. They're saying, why are you rewarding these guys with a title match by attacking us? Nelson with a $5 super chat donation. How were you able to watch Raw before it ended? I'm not sure what you mean by that question, but thank you for the super chat donation. I was watching it on Sling, and my feed was a little bit behind, though. But it worked out okay. This video worked out okay. It's a little bit different than what I'm used to here, and thankfully there's not a lot of people here, so it's been an overall quiet atmosphere. If there were tons of people here and I'm talking about wrestling to my phone, I could see people just giving me looks, and that maybe throwing me off. What is Sling? Sling is a streaming service, which is what I use, and a lot of people are using now instead of having traditional cable. You know, people that are cord cutters now are using streaming services and using the hardware like Roku or Apple TV or on their Xbox or smart TVs also. So Sling TV is a streaming service you can use to watch various cable stations like USA Network and AMC, and it allows me to watch Raw live on the West Coast, which is really cool. PlayStation View is another good service, but I actually like their interface better, but they don't have Raw live for West Coast people. You have to watch it at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific time, which doesn't really work if I want to do the live videos here. So I'm glad to have Sling so I can watch Raw live and do this live, and that's the pretty cool thing about being on the West Coast too, is that it's just after 8 now, and for a lot of you on the East Coast, it's 11 o'clock, it's late at night. It's still pretty early for me. I'll tell you guys now, I'm going to see the Foo Fighters again, and that's why I'm doing this here. I actually got to leave here in a few minutes, and that's why I decided this week to experiment. But I was thinking about it. I was considering it for a while, the idea of maybe trying to start the video while Raw was on. People were saying, why don't you try and give your live reactions? They were kind of boring, though. So, you know, when Strowman was taken off the top of the Raw announce table by Reigns, you know, I reacted a little bit, but you guys aren't going to see me marking out and jumping up and down over this stuff. So, you know, it's not going to create all that much excitement. Maybe earlier on the show when I was falling asleep, you know, not literally, but you know what I mean, just a figure of speech. I was just bored out of my mind earlier. So again, it wouldn't have made for very much excitement. I'm just like shaking my head or just rolling my eyes or whatever. Not very exciting when it comes to live reactions. I know some people like to do the live reactions and they're very popular. That's why I figured, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I'll try it. And for those of you that are just tuning in now, you know, I'm going to be signing off here in a minute, but thank you for tuning in, and you can watch this on demand, of course, and get my thoughts on the show. And I might add some thoughts. So, did I do my letter grade? I don't think I did. So before I sign off here, let me do my letter grade for this show. You know what? Other than Foley being added to the match in the end, this was the SHITS. This was one of the worst Raws of the year. As far as a go-home show, looking at it from that perspective, it should be all hands on deck. It's the first Raw against football, Monday Night Football, and it was boring. It was just a complete waste of time to watch live. Like, I don't recommend anybody watching this show live. At best, you can watch a couple of the YouTube clips, but not even that. Maybe you could watch the Mick Foley segment and the end of Raw. Everything else I thought was a waste of time. Seriously. So I'm going to give this show an F+. I think this is the first F I've given Raw. F+. If it wasn't for Foley and the end, this would have been like F-. This would have been like the worst Raw of the year. Just so much filler and just a completely forgettable, run-of-the-mill, let's not advance storylines, let's not get anybody over. We're just going to try to make Roman look strong, and that's about it. And let's show off our charity work, and yeah, F+. Oh, I forgot about Chad Gable and Bobby Roode beating the Ascension again. Woo, whoop-dee. Yeah, crap. More garbage. Yeah, wasn't a fan of that match either. You know, Ascension, whatever. Wasn't that the same match as last week? I don't even remember. But that's all I gotta say about Raw. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys tomorrow night for another edition of NoDQ Live. Thank you all.